Let me go ahead and start. Yeah, so guys, I'm back live once again on this early Monday morning, April the 18th. In the month of April with my guest, Dr. Makeba Mooring. You can reach her at Instagram at Dr. Makeba Mooring, Facebook Makeba Mooring, or Dr. Makeba. She is a woman that's very skilled in health and wellness always, but she also has an interesting view on some world topics, which I wanted to get to today. So without being further ado, how you doing, Dr. Makeba?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good on this 48-degree rainy day in Virginia. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how the weather changed. It was like 80 something last week, and then then we back to
Oh,
40s
wow.
again. So, but you got an interesting what I say background, so you can go ahead and explain it yourself. I just was doing it for starters.
Oh, I appreciate you. So, well, you get me prepared. I'm actually in South Florida, but I'm on my way back to Atlanta in a few hours, and I don't know what the temperature is. So I hope I'm not in shock because it's hot down here. In Atlanta, you never know. It could be 30 degrees or it could be 85 degrees.
Well, I never knew it was
But
30 degrees.
huh?
I ain't never known it was no 30 degrees in Atlanta.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, quite frequently. And particularly in this between the winter and springtime, the winters people say is warm and it'll drop down to 30 like nothing, and it would have been just a couple of days before in the 80s, literally. But we didn't come here to talk about Atlanta's weather. But interestingly enough, as it's a good analogy to how dramatic are the variation that's going on the planet right now. I think it's very similar. I love to compare things to nature. But that being said, I'm what you call a holistic doctor. I've been vegan for 36 years plus. I've raised 8 children. I birthed all 3 of my children that I birthed were natural childbirth. They were strong and healthy. My last child, I kept him on raw food for the first 2 to 3 years of his life, meaning I kept nursing him, and then I only fed him raw fruits, vegetables, and grains. He grew to be a straight A student in school. He's up and coming MMA champion as we speak. He was accepted into West Point. And a lot of people say, wow, he's just so amazing when they meet him, particularly being so young. And what I tell a lot of people is I attribute it to the fact that I kept him as natural as possible. So what humanity is suffering from is self-poisoning on the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and everything else. So, and it's amazing because this is what I teach on and this is what I live by. I have seen stage 5 cancer reversed, and the person lives out a long, healthy life to 80 and even 90 years old. And meaning I've seen people who were elderly with stage 5 cancer. And we saw this when cancer was an epidemic and told it couldn't be reversed. Same thing with HIV, same thing with anything. When you abide by the laws of nature, meaning when you adopt a diet and a lifestyle that is biologically compatible for the type of organism that you are, it thrives.
Let me stop you right there. Hold on for a minute, because I know the tech junkies out here. So, hey, look, this is not medical advice, okay? This is what you call how did the guy say it? This is medical opinion. Daggone, this is not medical advice for the tech junkies in the back, okay? I'm just letting you know. Daggone, you still go see a doctor. She is just giving it.
Well, no, I'm giving a no. I will correct that. I'm giving a first opinion.
Okay, well, you're doing the first opinion.
I'm a holistic. Wait, let me clarify it. I'm giving a first opinion, not a second opinion. I don't claim to be a medical doctor. I am a holistic doctor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Let me finish because you can claim it, but I'm claiming that this is a first opinion.
All right, that's first opinion.
By the laws that govern nature and everything that is. I do not claim to give you medical advice.
Okay.
But if you're looking for holistic health and wellness advice, I'm giving it.
Gotcha.
And so if you want to stay within the legal realm, this ain't no second opinion. The first law nature is everything that is.
Well, that's true.
I'm giving a first opinion. I'm not giving a medical opinion, which is what God governs, man has governed according to his institutions. Yeah. I'm giving you that I'm the expert on the planet to understanding what God and what nature has done and the form of healing that's been around and helped to develop the other form of healing. So I just wanted to correct that. I never second anything.
Okay.
I'm the first of it.
That's my mistake.
Man's problem.
Let me say something about that. And actually, I 100% agree with you. I probably should not have said second opinion, so I can relent that. But I should say this is not man's opinion. This is nature's opinion. Let me put it like that, which is the real thing, nature. And speaking of nature, I know you said you got 30 minutes. I got to bring this up. But you also said you are a mother and a grandmother, correct?
I am. Mm-hmm.
So if you're a mother and a grandmother, that also means that, speaking of nature, since the mother would be the first teacher, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that also means that you don't mind if things came down to it, I'm not sending your child to a public school. You would want to train the child yourself in your own nature.
Okay, so let me say this. One, I'm a holistic doctor, aka a naturopath. Okay, So that is the form of. I'm not even going to say, ma'am. 3/4 of the country is still holistic. When you're dealing with America, they deal more with the allopathic community, aka medical community. By law, there are certain terms that they get very agitated when you use. So I may not use the term that starts with C. I say, when I help heal a person of cancer, they had it, now they don't. If I help heal a person of HIV, they had it, now they don't. I don't mind switching the terminology to be legally in line with whatever the standard is in the United States. But you have 75% of the world that doesn't abide by that standard. So I wanted to make that mistake. Next, I am a mother. I've raised 8 children. I've birthed 3 children. And I'm also a grandmother. So as far as public schools are concerned, because my brand speaks to people all around the world, and I know that Americans have this tendency to think that everything focuses around them, but that's just absolutely not the case. I chose not to send my children to public school when I returned to the United States for many different reasons, because of all of the false indoctrination and all of the other laws and other things that that I could not control if I released them to the government. So the way the schools are ran here, as soon as they're out of your hands, they're within governmental control, which I absolutely disagree. Not to mention that the United States public school system is generally very dumbed down from the standard that I've chose for my children to be on. So I did homeschooling as well as private schooling. And I would say this, when my oldest son, first came to the States, he did some tests, and his literacy level as far as reading English was 3 years behind. I actually took a tutoring program, tutored him myself, and within 6 months ahead, he had jumped up 5 reading levels. He had jumped up 5 reading levels to the point that he was above the reading level. So I'm a strong advocate of, if you're going to send your children to these public schools, you have to understand that the public school system in America is one of the worst in the world for first world countries. That's a statistical fact. They're very dumbed down according to whatever race, but no parent should ever send their child to school without making home the first school. So that's my spiel on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it more so in a case of a 2-part problem. You got politicians now telling you what to do with your child. And you also got this this flaming agenda going on called what are these guys called? The LGBTQ community. And they are making their rounds around the country in Florida and other places. So it wouldn't be right to say that. So they're trying to make their rounds too. I'm out here trying to tell a woman, you are a woman. Why daggone would I disrespect a woman by calling you a woman? No, hold on, man. We got to get back to the real deal.
Well, the biggest issue I'm going to have with that, with all the extreme censorship, you know, a lot of people want to say, oh, they hated Nazi Germany, but you're literally living in a society right now here in America where they're trying to have states that say you have censorship to the point where if you don't, if they don't agree with what Big Brother is, whatever that is, but that's a whole nother conversation, that you're censored and you're taking off the platform. So this is the biggest problem that I have with this particular community. But what's even a larger problem is that you have absolutely no right to dictate to me what I have to accept. You have no right to dictate to my child's media what they have to put on. How dare you put in a kindergarten book, LGBTQ families? I do not believe in promoting that or promoting sexual attitude. If that's what you want to do, you pick your part of the planet and you do that. I absolutely disagree with it to the point that it's going into a transhumanization agenda, which is evil and it's satanic. And if humans do not stand up for the rights to live, to breathe, and to create a healthy, natural environment, and everything will be destroyed. With that being said, one of the biggest issues that I have, how dare you say that a male child wants to be another sex? First of all, if by natural selection he was born male, you have no right to make a unilateral decision that you're going to chop off that child's penis because of the bombardment of influence that you put out there in order to affect this child's mind. Now, it is also a biological fact that boys do not reach mental development till about 25. Not even, that's why back in the day they had laws that if a child committed a crime that they did not have the ability, according to the facilities of their brain. I don't care if it was murder. It's according to the environment that they were exposed to, how they were going to think. So you're telling me you got all of this bombardment and a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy says he wants to be a girl. You made him that by a bombardment of an agenda to change his natural selection. Then you're going to take off his life essence before he has had the opportunity to develop. And if he wants to make that choice, that is the beginning of transhumanization and the agenda that is literally going to wipe out the whole planet. So I'm very much against that. And if you don't have humans that stand up and say, if you want to go to space and do that crap, you do it. But we're taking back the earth and not going to allow that. You are killing humanity before they get to develop and make it. So that is the ridiculousness of anyone agreeing with that type of agenda. No one, they don't have the brain capacity, just like if they committed a crime, be able to see the whole picture. It's all according to the environment. And right now, the environment has become so overwhelmed with the LGBTQ agenda that it is against nature and it is against humanity. Don't care who you sleep with, but you do not have the right to destroy humanity. And that's my position on that.
Wait a minute, Shaq just jumped on. What's going on, Shaq? How you doing?
Peace and blessings. How you doing, man? How y'all doing this morning?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, I'm just listening to Dr. Makeba. She talking about she airing it out. I'm listening because she breaking it down. She said they do not have the right to teach her children what they want to teach them if it doesn't align with her principle and values or my principle values or even yours.
I agree. Us parents, we got to stop being so lazy, man, and relying on this shadow government to dictate.
She says she can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it better now?
Thank you.
How you doing, Dr. Makeba?
You said what's going on?
It's all great. Thank you.
No, I was saying I would agree with you. For us parents, we definitely got to stop being lazy and relying on the shadow government to teach our children any and everything. You know what I mean? It's on us now. We know. There's enough information out there. We got technology. There's enough information out there that we can start teaching our children different the way we want to teach them. You know, we got the STEM. We need to definitely start STEM, teaching them a different. I wouldn't even say alternative ways of eating. I'd say the natural way to eat. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing that's stricken us is the way they've indoctrinated us into how this food. We in the food desert. There ain't nobody trying to throw no lifeboat to us, no life jacket or nothing to us, as far as all the disease that we're that's ravishing through us as so-called Black Americans or the indigenous people of this land.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Okay, let me say something. This is so ridiculous. And you're going to tell me that you got a basketball player who's agreeing to cut off his child's penis, not giving him the chance to live and grow as an example. These people hate humanity and hate life. I said it. You can Google it. So there is a reason. And no, I have not heard one time talking about kids' LGBT rights. They don't have the ability to make this decision. And when you immerse them in an environment that says that you should do this, that's what they're going to be prone to. It's no different than a child. I'm gonna tell you what, my PhD, my second PhD, my dissertation was on the correlation between the standard American diet and the mental development of children. They put 85% of the commercials back in the day, McDonald's commercials, when children between the ages of 3 to 12 were watching TV on Saturday morning. It's a child's brain is 95% of the environment. That's why it's toxic that humanity has not stood up and allowed the LGBT community to dictate the environment because it's anti-human. And what I mean by that is this. If nature chose for a child to be born with a penis, you are telling me that nature made a mistake? No, it didn't. It says right here, if you can Google it, I said, what a child reaches mental maturity at what age? So all the law books were based on this. When we got a white man off because he was 18 or 17 and he created a child. If you called another man a child molester like Nicki Minaj's husband because he was messing with someone only a year or two younger than him, what you're saying is that 16-year-old did not have the mental capacity to make a sexual decision. But you're telling me that same 10-year-old has the mental capacity to choose that they want a sex change? How dare you say that? That makes no sense. You're telling me that a Black man who messes with a girl 17 can go to prison and get a pedophile on his name for the rest of his life because the law says that she does not have the mental capacity because she has not reached brain maturity. She's still influenced by environment. So even if she consented, it's not legal because it understands that we're abiding by the law of nature and she doesn't have the mental capacity to make a sexual decision. But you're telling me a 10 and 11-year-old Gabrielle Union's husband, that Wayne person, what the fuck he is, has the mental, that child has the mental capacity to make a decision to have a sex change? All the science is out of the door, and you're telling me that you're following these people who believe in the science when it's convenient to them, and then they don't believe in the science when it comes to literally extinguishing the male race? Are you kidding me? It's gone too far. It says right here, if you Google it, what a child reaches mental maturity. It says right here on Google, age 25. A rational part of a teen's brain isn't fully developed and won't be until age 25 or so. In fact, recent research has found that an adult teen brain works differently. Adults think with the prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational part. They don't have the ability a massive agenda that is massively extinguishing, especially Black men at a rate never done before. And which is massively going to affect everyone on the planet to take out all humanity. How dare you put these sellouts of humanity in front of me, advocating that their child is made a decision, knowing that they're not meant to be. So that's my position on that. Dr. Makeba said it. I don't care who you sleep with after 25. Do you. But you are not allowed to extinguish my inheritance as human. And this affects every race, every culture on the planet.
Okay, let me bring this up. Hey guys, I'm gonna say this on a good tip here. I like this because what she said is absolutely 100% true, and I will always say this: AI, artificial intelligence, and when you go against the laws of nature, to be honest with you, you ain't nothing but a puppet or a robot. That's my take on that, because when you go against nature, it's gonna always come back to bite you in the ass. And this stuff that we are doing on this planet, what they call it, the climate agenda, human 2.0, all these things. This is, I like what the specialist said, John 5:19, the whole world lie in wickedness. And the synagogue of Satan has basically tried to capture the whole world in his grasp, seeking whom he may devour. And they are trying to devour humanity. If you're looking for biblical, I know they were talking about Easter yesterday and all that, but if you really look at Easter, that ain't nothing but extra, the pagan goddess. Daggone, ain't no, and that's another thing your pastors open up your churches and stuff like that. They got to cut off your churches, and they opened up, and then you had your white suits on and blah blah blah. I got you, Dr. Mill. They had their white suits on, and they did this and they did that. Yeah, they're trying to make womanhood too, Monel. But I'm just saying, you had your white suits on, and then you look at it. Bunnies don't lay eggs. A rabbit goes through a gestation period. They have a litter of rabbits. They don't lay no eggs, man. I'm sorry, man. You got to get with it. What's the day? You go in the store today, I guarantee the Easter stuff on sale, man. Commercial enterprise and money. That's what it is. So when we get into the word Easter, look at Esther. It has to do with the spring equinox. It's not on the same day. Why was the gym yesterday? I went to the gym yesterday at 7 in the morning. It was closed. Why is a workout facility closed? I was trying to work out. Is it okay if I get $5 off my membership that day? Why is Kroger closed? Why are stores closed for Easter? It doesn't make sense. If you're saying somebody wrote, they call it Good Friday, but if it's Good Friday, why would you kill a man and call it Good Friday? And then you say it's 3 days, but my math tell me Friday and Saturday is 2 days, so Sunday cannot be 3. It would be Monday, right? So let's ask that question. We got to start thinking also when they give us these great falsehood. It's almost like a strong delusion. If you wanted to go to church on Easter Sunday, that's fine. I don't really care. I mean, that's on you, right? That's on you. I can't lie and say that and cast no stones. That's not my job. But I got to say, just do the research on these things. They call it April Fools for a reason. If you look on the calendar, you will find out that April really is the first day of the year or the new year, because the spring equinox, spring, things are springing up. Not January 1st. But you got to go do the research and stop living in a box. That's all I'm saying. When you get a box, everything's in the box with the package. But if something is outside the ordinary in the box, you're going to look at it. So when something is out of the ordinary, always call it into question and don't go with the main script. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I got a little long-winded there, but hey, she ain't got
no, you good. I second that. Hey, that's logical thinking, man. I might go back to this processed sugar that we consume. I'm I'm gonna say that's logical thinking, and a lot of us not doing a lot of logical thinking because I'm gonna go back to the diet of what we ingesting, the toxins in the air, in the water, in our food. You know, I just found out that polyester is bad for us because it's a yeah, polyester, the sheets, even the sheets, man. It's some of our health diseases. It's the polyester. It's the toxic. What's the name I'm looking for? I can't think of the name. Dr. Makeba probably know. It's a carcinogenic or something like that. But we should be using 100% cotton, but they're mixed cotton blend of cotton and a blend of this polyester, which is synthetic. It's a synthetic material. And now I've done the research on that, and I understand why they want to promote that, because they promote us being grounded. We're electrical beings. So if you could ground our electricity, our natural electricity, which another one is sugar and the fake salt, not the table salt, that grounds our electricity out. They know how to ground us out and keeping us from being our higher self, a higher electrical being. These clothing we got on, we need to start checking on what kind of material that we use, because they can be coming on a lot of inducing a lot of our health disorders too. It's time to get educated, man. This is Aquarius, man. Everything is coming to the light. And if you don't want to go to the light, then and you still want to be foolish, that's on you.
Okay. Okay. You heard him, Dr. Makeba?
I couldn't hear anything.
But okay, you can just second my statement. That's fine. We'll get to it because you got to go. I know you got to go.
Okay. Yeah, he just seconded your statement regarding
this thing I said about Easter and all that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
yeah, the fantasy, the fantasy world we live in.
Health gurus of all time was also a very strong political advocate. Humanitarian was Dick Gregory. And that being said, I mean, from the time that he helped the Beatles detox, his friendship with John Lennon, to his ability to be able to dry fast for 16 years and just show humanity what is. It's never a popular place to be what is. But when you see that people hate information and then they accept the information as most toxic for them, if you find yourself in that position, you have to know that you've just been programmed. Community is done, and your inability to be able to actually think. There's something called Guidestones in Georgia. They've been there mysteriously now for 40 years. They're sitting right there. And it clearly says in a few different languages that the population agenda. It says to decrease the population to 500 million people. We currently have about 7.5 billion. So where do you think the other 7 billion getting ready to go? And I think it says by 2025. We're at 2022. The Guidestones of Georgia. So if you don't believe me, go Google it. Go look at them yourself. They're right outside the greater Atlanta area. But also in Atlanta is what we call the CDC, the Center for Disease. Some people call it the Center for Disease Control. Others say it's really AKA Center for Disease Creation. So they're right there. I challenge any Christian, any Muslim, anything that you abide by. How did these Guidestones get there? Why is it in 7 languages saying by 2025 and by 2030, we're trying to get the world's population down to 500 million? It's currently 7.5 billion. How do you think they're going to go? What's the most effective way? Biological warfare. What's the first thing you got to do to create biological warfare? You got to get a bunch of slaves, people who are programmed that they will accept the biological warfare. And you telling me everybody getting on TV talking about LGBT and agreeing with this child was born the wrong sex. But then you'll say this man committed pedophilia because the girl wasn't old enough to consent. But they're old enough to consent to get a sex change. It's ludicrous. So we're seeing a big shakedown No one knew that 2020 could happen. It happened. And if you was on the wrong side, meaning that you went for whatever, which was against your own human life and your generation's human life, you may not be here in a couple years. It just is what it is. Because those Guidestones been there 40 years saying 7 billion of y'all got to go. And the only thing I'm saying is what has always existed. The sun has always existed. The sun has always been a catalyst for human life in anything on the planet. I don't care what man's opinion is. So that's why I had to clarify in the beginning, it wasn't against you, my brother. It was against the terminology. You're not going to give me a doctrine that's only been around a few hundred years and say that it's the beginning. No, it's not. What I'm speaking is the beginning. Because what I'm speaking is in harmony with the sun, the moon, the stars, the air on the earth. That's why we're able to take a cancer or HIV or when someone considers themselves mentally ill and healing, because the formula has been the same for thousands, billions of years. It is not second, it's the first law. Even Hippocrates says, first rule of medicine is thou should do no harm. The sun is a catalyst. So let me say this. I was telling people years ago, why are melanated people 75 to 80% of the world? Everybody's black. Most people are melanated. Caucasians are the minority, not the majority. It's little simple stuff like that that's never been challenged. It is not a natural human thing to not be able to absorb the rays of the sun. So I was telling people years ago, why are you wearing suntan lotion? I said, that's foolish. Now you got black people talking about vitamin D deficiency. That's nothing, dear. Anyone of color, which is literally 75 to 80% of people on the planet, have some type of melanin in them. It is activated by the sun. It's a catalyst which activates hormones and chemicals in your brain that are released throughout the body, that activates your immune system, that activates your ability to be able to process thought in a healthy way for your survival. When you take a ray of that sun, which you do through fluorescent lighting and suntan lotion, you now have a deficiency, which leads to insanity, which leads to mental and physical degeneration. It may equal cancer, it may equal autoimmune disease, it may equal schizophrenia, ADD, ADHD, that's how it happens. This is not a law I made, it's a law of the planet that's been here for billions of years and will continue to be here. So what I speak is the first law of nature. I've just dedicated my life to studying it, and now I have enough testimonies, and we started off with my personal children, even with my own personal children, to reprove what's always been the law. I call it the law of the land. So as far as any agenda out there, I just say study the Georgia Guidestones. According to Georgia Guidestones, they got to find a way to get 7 billion people off this planet. Okay? That's man's law. I would never call it the first law. It's a pretty destructive law, and it's obviously created against something that hates anything that's of life. So, which side of the fence do you want?
That's right.
All those life workers out there, if you want to know about more life and healing, that's my specialty.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Makeba, can she hear me?
Yeah, she can hear
I
you.
can hear him a little bit. If you could just repeat what Shaq says, because I know I'm coming through your phone, I can barely hear him.
I'm closer to him now.
Yeah, I want to agree with you what you just said. I've been studying about the like you said about what's the word? Is it iodized? Iodized, like iodized lamps, iodized candles, the iodized is I'm saying the right word?
Mm-hmm.
Ionic. We can get that ionic. You can get that type of ionic because that's what we are made up of, different ions too. And a lot of the sprays, like the aerosol sprays that we spray in the air and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is clogging us up, man, clogging our pores and stuff up, and keeping us, like you say, keeping us grounded. What you think about that?
Yep.
And using more
So what I heard, he's asking about the aerosol sprays and also asking about iodine.
That's what you're asking about.
Okay, so the aerosol sprays, we've known that, at least us holistic people, we've known that for a while now. That's so anytime you should get aerosol sprays, back in the day, it destroys the environment. Anything that destroys to break it down, it destroys the air, and you have to breathe the air to live. I don't know how people have forgotten that. And so, but at least for 3 decades now, if you see aerosol cans, which you don't see them as much as you used to when I was a child, it'll say no CFCs. That's what it should say. So everything in modern society, particularly if it came from America, was built for profit. That means everything is toxic. Because for profit meant that I'm going to make a can and put a toxic chemical in there that literally pollutes the air. When you breathe it in, causes cancer and other respiratory issues. Why? It's the ozone layer. That's how bad it is. Like, what kind of mind would create that? And we've been using it for a good 100 years until the advent of the internet came out and people began to become more aware. And they say, why in the world would you use an aerosol can that's breaking down your child's immune system, your immune system? A lot of what Black people have, you're starting to see an outbreak of the pigmentation loss. That's from a reality, that's an autoimmune response. That's an autoimmune response. If you're melanated, which means you're one of the 75, you're the majority of the planet. Okay, the attack on the planet had went 10,000-fold within the last 50 years. And one of the things was the aerosol cans. But as soon as people find out, then they act against it, then they just created something that doesn't do that. Why would you do that? It's the same difference as lead paint. So it's if you ever get an aerosol can, which I can't remember if I ever bought one. Not saying I never have, but it had to be a long time ago. It should say no CFCs, which is saying it doesn't have that chemical component in it that destroys the ozone layer, destroys your respiratory system, and destroys your immune system, and probably will lead you to cancer. Simple. Almost everything you touch and use has been compromised.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is the reality that you have been living in this one world government.
Hold on, let me say something. Let me say something, Shaq. We're gonna go ahead and continue, okay? She said she had to leave at 9:10, so I gotta respect her time. But I love you. Thank you for coming on. And I just want you to have a great day, but I do want you to give out your salutations as well.
Oh, you speaking to me?
Yes.
On my salutation? Well, I appreciate that, and I do have to go. I've enjoyed the time with you. I'm passionate about life. I'm passionate about us. I'm passionate about the 7.5 billion people on the planet who, many of them have information, but particularly all of those who don't, in Africa, in Asia, in China, and they've been living up under the guise of a weaponized planet, to when they step in their car, to when they breathe the air, to anything that they do has been weaponized to kill them and to alter them. And now the final agenda of transhumanization is on. So initially, I just help people. What I specialize in is beauty and performance, okay? But because we've gone into another whole agenda, it's forced me, through being human and for my love for the planet and myself and God, to be able to speak on these things that are most toxic. So just as I can help a person eradicate heart disease probably within 30 to 40 days, just with changing their lifestyle and their nutritional habits, we have to speak on these larger agendas as well. So I thank you for coming. I'm Dr. Makeba, the holistic doctor. I am a holistic doctor, the vegan doctor. You can reach me on my Instagram handle. You can also reach me on my Facebook handle. And I thank you for having me today. Thank you.
All right, you take your time. Have a good day. Thank you, man.
Peace.
Go ahead, Shaq.
Yeah, no, I was bringing up with the because I was doing some research and I was watching some of these guys and they was talking about the pink Himalayan sea salt because it comes from the mountains. It's the natural minerals. You got the natural, like 88 minerals, raw minerals that our body is made of. We need to help promote melanin. So people can check this out. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical doctor, but they can go to Google this and check this out of the effects of taking a ionic bath, which is taking like some pink Himalayan sea salt, or like the rock. You can throw it in your bath water, like you said, throw it in the bath or something, or throw it in a big pot or something, and you make a brew. You take that salt rock out, and then you take a teaspoon of that and put that in, like, you take a teaspoon of that after that and brew, and put that into like maybe a teaspoon, maybe into 8 glasses of water, or you could put, of a teaspoon into a gallon of water, and you can start drinking that water, and that's supposed to help with your that for my information research I did, it helps with diabetes, regulate a lot of hormones, promotes a lot of your natural minerals, activate the natural minerals in your body. So I'm always about finding ways that we can do things naturally instead of always just going, to the white coats and getting on things that's going to cause us to have even more and more problems and more money. I keep talking about the wheel of fortune, Bernard. We living in a system of capitalism. System of the wheel of fortune, and unfortunately, we're getting the bad end of that fortune. You know what I mean? I just hope people start doing more research on things. And I do believe, Bernard, I do believe that it help promote healthy, logical thinking too. Once we start to clean up the things that we ingest, you know what I mean?
I got you, bro. Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, Shaq. Well, I'm glad that you came on. I gotta get some work done, but I do want you to shout out your Instagram and information, because I gotta get some work done on trying to get this work done on ceiling this morning. So just take your time.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, y'all can check me out at CLESMOOTH81. That's CLE Smooth 81 at Instagram. Facebook, you can catch me at CHAQ Edwards, Shaq Edwards on Facebook. And yeah, just check me out, man. Just check me out. Subscribe and ride with me, man. I'll be finding some good did you know facts, fun facts, history, black history, your melanated history, indigenous American Indian history and stuff that we need to learn. And just ride with your boy, man. Each one teach one.
Take your time.
Yes, sir.